Why extraterrestrials may soon become visible again. A 13,000-year cycle of dimensional separation and return. For many ancient mystery traditions, humanity is not experiencing first contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. Rather, we are nearing a recontact that ended roughly 13,000 years ago. In this view, the civilizations we call gods, ETs, or the Anunnaki did not disappear. They simply shifted beyond the range of our lowered perception. Today, as human consciousness accelerates and global disclosure becomes harder to suppress, many believe that the era of visibility is returning. 1. Humanity once perceived multidimensional beings naturally. According to esoteric histories, early human beings operated in a higher vibrational state, corresponding to what later traditions called the fourth or even fifth dimension. In this state, the human energy field was less dense, more perceptive, tuned to subtle spectra of light and consciousness, and naturally capable of interacting with non-physical or semi-physical beings. Because of that, walking with the gods, what Sumerian records later described as the Anunnaki, was considered ordinary. They were not invisible or supernatural. They were simply part of the same perceptual spectrum. In this framework, visibility is not only about physical eyes, but about frequency resonance. If two beings hold compatible vibrational ranges, they can see and communicate with each other. 2. The Atlantean catastrophe and the Great Flood lowered human frequency. Around 11,500–13,000 years ago, mythic traditions recount a dramatic planetary event, often described as the Atlantean Fall, pole shifts, or the Great Flood remembered in cultures worldwide. The spiritual interpretation says, humanity's consciousness collapsed into denser 3D awareness. The energy body contracted, perception narrowed, and intuitive abilities shut down. This vibrational fall made higher dimensional beings appear to vanish, even though they were still here, operating at a frequency band humanity could no longer detect. Thus the Anunnaki, described as 5th dimensional or higher beings, became invisible to human eyesight, inaudible to human senses, and functionally absent from our reality. It wasn't that they left the planet. We fell out of sync with them. 3. The 13,000-year ascension cycle is ending. Many esoteric timelines speak of a 26,000-year precessional cycle, half descending, half ascending. The last 13,000 years were the descending arc into density. Now humanity is moving back through expanded consciousness, increased sensitivity, activation of subtle perception, and gradual realignment with higher dimensions. This shift is reflected in massive spiritual awakening, rising interest in metaphysics and ET contact, increased psychic sensitivity, sudden surges in synchronicity and intuition, global collapse of old structures, and widespread sightings of anomalous aerial phenomena. As we move out of deep 3D into early 4D resonance, we begin touching the same frequency band the Anunnaki and other ET groups occupy. In this view, they aren't coming back. We are returning to where we used to be. 4. Why ETs may become visible again. As the human field expands, several things start to shift. 1. Perceptual bandwidth widens. Higher frequency beings become easier to see and sense. 2. Physical light spectrum overlap increases. What was once outside the visible range becomes partially visible. This is why light body sightings and translucent craft have rapidly increased. 3. Dimensional bleed-through moments occur. Short periods where different density layers overlap, allowing beings to appear temporarily. 4. Technology consciousness combine. As humans gain subtle perception and ETs adjust their frequency fields downward, interaction becomes possible again, similar to tuning two radios to the same channel. This natural convergence makes open contact not only possible but inevitable. 5. Why disclosure now feels imminent. Even governments that long denied UFO phenomena are now admitting non-human craft exist. From the esoteric angle, this isn't just political, it's energetic timing. Two forces are aligning. A, human consciousness is rising back into 4D. We are returning to the vibrational state we held when we last interacted with higher beings. B, ET groups are preparing for re-engagement. Many traditions say these beings always knew we would rise again after the long 13,000-year cycle. The timing of disclosure isn't random, it is synchronized with humanity's awakening. 6. The return is not an invasion. It's a reunion. In this interpretation, ET visibility is not a threat. It is the restoration of a relationship humanity once had. The beings who were gods in ancient myths never left. They simply stepped out of our perceptual field. As we rise, we re-enter theirs. Conclusion. If the esoteric timeline is correct, we are living in the end of an ancient amnesia cycle. The next stage of human evolution is not technological, it is perceptual. And as our vibration rises back into higher density awareness, beings like the Anunnaki or other ET intelligences will naturally become visible again. Not because they are arriving, but because we are finally able to see them.